Hello there. Welcome back to Grade 10 Economics. In this video, we want to look at an essay question that is on the question paper of November 2023. So let's not forget to subscribe and share to our channel. Let's share the link to our colleagues who are doing Grade 10 Economics. As for this video, we can proceed to the question that we want to look at. So remember, all typical examination questions are going to be uploaded on this channel. So going to our question that we have, this is the question that we have according to our video. And the question is on economic pursuits. And the question has got 40 marks and it requires you to spend on average 40 minutes on that question. So the question reads, discuss in detail industrial development with focus on the following aspects. And the first one is mechanization of production. And the second one is got urbanization and migration. And this part has got 26 marks. And then we have got the additional part which reads, how did the influx of immigrants contribute to the industrial development of South Africa? That part has got 10 marks. And then remember, if you add the two, you're going to get your 36 marks, which means you also have marks for your introduction and your conclusion. So remember, at the beginning, you are supposed to come up with an introduction before you go to the main body. Remember the structure of the essay. Our essay that we should start with introduction, then we go to the main body, then we finish with our conclusion. So regarding our introduction, I remember you are, for example, you are supposed to try to define any key word or concept that you are having in the question, and then you try to describe it in the introduction, and it will comprise your introduction. But we should also take note that in that introduction, we should not include part of the question in the introduction. Very important to take note that we should not include part of the question in the introduction, and also we should avoid saying what you are going to discuss in the body in the introduction. So also we take note of that. So according to our question, obviously you can pick any term that you feel you need to describe in the introduction. For example, we have a term which is here, which is industrial development. So you can try to describe industrial development, and that will be your introduction. So you'd see that in industrial development, it is the building and the growing of industries within an economy by using new technologies, which makes job opportunities easier and also leads to an increase in the business output and can increase also profits of those businesses. So that's basically industrial development. So we are seeing that in the explanation of industrial development, we've got the integration of use of new technologies. To obviously to produce more goods and services. And also this technology is going to enhance efficiency in the production processes. So that's what we have in terms of industrial development. So typical explanation or description that you have to include in the introduction. So going on to our question, we are going to start on discussing in detail industrial development with focus on mechanization of production. So we're going to start to look at mechanization of production. But explanation on mechanization of production now, and now we are defining mechanization of production. So the explanation on mechanization of production is that it is the process of introducing a machine to do something that used to be done by hand. So when we are replacing the use of, for example, labor, and we are replacing with machines, with machinery, then we say that is a mechanization. So basically, we are saying substituting labor, and then we put machines. So this is what we have. So on our answer section, we can go down to our answer section, try to see the explanation. This is the answer section where we are now answering the question in the main body. So our first statement is the industrial revolution was the transition to new manufacturing processes. So industrial revolution explains the transition that took place in the manufacturing process. And obviously this transition also is described by the replacement of human labor with machines. So this is the explanation that we have in terms of industrial revolution, but we can also try to define industrial revolution as a period of global transition of human economy towards more widespread, efficient, and stable manufacturing processes that succeeded towards more widespread, efficient, and stable manufacturing process that succeeded the agricultural revolution. So basically, this is the industrial revolution explanation. So on the second point, it reads, let's go try to see. On the second point, it reads the way people worked in the way goods were produced changed. So basically, that's what we are trying to explain. We are trying to answer the question according to the mechanization of production, whereby we've got that transition that we are talking about from labor to machines. So next point, mechanization and the use of machines to do the work of animals or humans was employed in the manufacturing process. So that's the transition. Then the factory system is characterized by complicated division of labor called the organization of work. So the factory system also was also characterized by complicated division of labor called also organization of work. So organization of work also describes a division of labor. So this is what we have been. On the next point, in this system, a worker is responsible for a task in the production line, and then hand tools were replaced with mechanical tools. So this is the transition again. The process of iron is a good example of this. So basically, the same is like during the processing of iron, that's where we saw a mechanization being employed, where we had a new machinery coming in the replacement of labor in the manufacturing process. So at next point, before mechanization, many workers had to handle bulk material with shovels and wheelbarrows. So this was before they were using tools. And then after mechanization, then came processing plants, which replaced human labor and were operated with human. So we are seeing that also the transition that took place from the use of labor to use of machines also lessened the number of workers that were needed at each and every task, because we are seeing that it was now operated by a human, which means we are having a replacement of human labor with machines. The machines, when we are using machines, it means we are also going to use less labor force. So this is what we have. The next point is like agricultural innovation included better farming methods and techniques which improved soil fertility and quality of products. Then before mechanization and factories, before mechanization, factories and textiles uh, were made mainly in people's homes using a basic equipment which was made easier with the inception of the use of machines. So this is the last point that we have on mechanization of production. At that point, it reads that before mechanization, textiles were made mainly in people's homes using basic equipment, which was made easier with the inception of the use of machines. So this becomes our last point. Then I'm going to the second part, which is, remember, if you go back to our question, you'd see that the question is saying, uh, discuss in detail using industrial development with focus on the following aspects. Urbanization. Now we are looking at urbanization and migration. How it led to industrial development. Remember, we did explain the meaning of industrial development. So how is urbanization and migration leading us to industrial development? And we said industrial development, it is the building and growing of industries within an economy by using new technologies, which makes job opportunities easier also because we are now using new technologies. It leads to an increase in a business output and also an increase in profit. So that's industrial development explanation. So how are we arriving there by having urbanization and migration? So that's now the second part that we want to look at. So obviously, we would want to know what exactly is urbanization, and obviously, we might also want to need to understand migration. But basically, urbanization is explained as the population shift from rural to urban areas, which is related with a corresponding decrease in the proportion of people living in rural areas. So basically, the movement that is there of people from rural areas to urban areas is what we call urbanization. Or if we have got a more proportion of people that are now living in urban areas. We can simply define it also as urbanization. So we have our explanation now regarding that. So if you look at the first point, it is industrialization led to the establishment of cities around coal fields or factories and near important ports. So the issue of industrial revolution also led to urbanization, as we are seeing that the new cities were now built around the coal fields or factories, where now we had the manufacturing taking place. That's where we had cities being built. So that also led to urbanization. The uh, second point is a considerable growth occurred during this period in urban populations as people from the countryside flocked to live and work in the cities. And then there was a big demand for IT workers. IT workers was at the center stage, as we are seeing, during new processes being put in place. There was a demand for IT workers to do various types of work in the factories. So in this sense, opportunities in the industrializing areas began to attract people from other countries, which led to more than a million. This is now basing on our history. More than a million English, Welsh, and Scottish workers in the 18th century to leave their homelands for overseas destinations. This is what we have. Then, besides the political and religious refugees, most of them were in search of better economic opportunities. So you see that the main drive behind the issue of urbanization is the availability of job opportunities in those urban areas. So people come there seeking for employment, and we are going to see that with that effect, we are going to see a concentration of people in the urban areas looking for job opportunities, and at the end of the day, the proportion of people in the urban areas is going to increase, and we now call it urbanization. So, on the next point, large markets for manufactured goods began to open in new cities, as we are now having more people that are there. So, moving on now to the next point. The living conditions of workers in the cities were very difficult. So basically, since we are having a movement of people in the urban areas, obviously, we are going to see that it's going to be overcrowded, obviously, because more people there's high influx of people in those areas. And living conditions of workers in the cities were very difficult. And then long working hours, up to 16 hours a day, was common. That was when we had that industrial revolution, when we are now having when we had the inception of mechanization. So next point, in many cases, residents were overcrowded and without proper drainage and water supply. Women earned very low wages. So this was a characteristic of urban areas at that time, when we had industries kickstarting, that we had a high influx of people in the urban areas and became overcrowded. And obviously, the services were being strained in terms of drainage systems, water supplies, were still not in a capacity to meet the demand that is there due to more people that are now living in the urban area. So this is what we have on this point. The next point is saying in Africa, the transition from colonial systems of government to self-government was very difficult. So this is our next point. Then next point, the rapid rate of urbanization has not kept up with increasing economic activities. The rapid rate of urbanization. So basically, this is explaining the same thing, that population in the urban areas increased, and but economic activities were not also increasing at the same rate. So which also becomes a problem. So we go to this point. In sub-Saharan Africa, skilled labor and management skills where essential and capital was very scarce. Industrialization requires investment in infrastructure such as road and electricity, networks in labor quality, as well as expensive machines. So this becomes our last point on this part. So obviously, we also have our additional parts, which we can always refer back and try to see what is it saying according to our question. So if you come here, we'll see that we've got the additional part which is saying how did the influx of immigrants contribute to the industrial development of South Africa. So immigrants, these are foreigners are moving into our local economy. Foreigners coming from outside the country are coming to live here in our country, and they are obviously there are reasons behind that. The main reason is to look for job opportunities, greener pastures, and some of them they are refugees. So with that effect now, that influx, how does it contribute to the industrial development? And we go back again to the explanation of industrial development that we made, that it is the building and growing of industries within an economy by using new technology. So how how do we have the issue of building of new industries due to immigrants, due to people that are moving into our country? That's how we are going to go about it on the external parts. In other words, we are saying the contribution of the immigrants in our positive contributions of immigrants in our economy is what we also want to look at. So if you come with the external part, you see that the first point is immigrants have developed a diverse and often highly skilled labor force to support industrial development in South Africa. So we are saying that some of the immigrants, they are skilled people, that's skilled labor force. So obviously they're going to positively contribute to the economy of South Africa. So those are the people that were very influential to the industrial development in South Africa. So we can take that as our first point. The main immigrants possess specialized skills and expertise that are in demand in various sectors, including engineering, healthcare, information, technology, and finance. Then our next point, by filling skills gap in the labor market, immigrants have contributed to the growth and productivity of industries. Obviously, these people are going to work in the industries, and they are going to also increase the economic activity that is in the local economy due to their contribution. So we go to the next point. Immigrants have also played a crucial role in entrepreneurship and business development in South Africa. Many migrants have established businesses ranging from small-scale enterprises to large corporations, thereby creating job opportunities and contributing to economic growth. So we are saying, obviously, some of the immigrants are going to engage in foreign direct investment, whereby they are going to open businesses in our local economy. So by so doing, we are going to have more supply of goods and services in our country, and that obviously will increase economic activity, which is a positive to the economic growth. It's also going to enhance economic growth. So this is what we have on this point. Then our last point, immigrants bring diverse experiences, expertise, and international perspectives, which can lead to the introduction of new technologies, management practices, and innovation. So this becomes the last point. So basically, from the additional part, we can see that the issue of immigration does not only bring negative effects to the economy, they can bring positive effects to the economy, like the background that we are discussing of how immigrants are contributed to the development, industrial development of South Africa, which is being highlighted on the additional part. So this becomes the last part of our main body. And we obviously have to finish our essay with the conclusion. And in the conclusion, that's where you are supposed to come up with a value judgment according to the discussion that you had gone through in the main body. You can also just try to come up with a brief summary of what has been discussed, and then you can also include some recommendations in that conclusion, and any opinion on the facts are discussed. So that's how we can come up with our introduction. Then you close your essay. So that becomes the end of your essay. So this is what we gave, guys, according to this video of our grade 10 economics. Hopefully this video was helpful. Let's not forget to subscribe and share. Let's not forget to share the link to our colleagues who are doing grade 10 economics. We'll meet again in the next video. More typical examination questions are going to be uploaded on this channel. Let's meet again in the next video. As for this video, I'm signing out.